The invention of the loom, a device that holds warp threads under consistent tension, enabling efficient weaving, was one of the most significant technological advances in human history. Archaeological evidence suggests that weaving, using some form of loom, was practiced in Anatolia, modern Turkey, approximately 7000 BC, in China approximately 5000 BC, and in West Africa, including the territory that is now Nigeria, at a date that is still being determined but certainly predates European contact. The loom enabled cloth production at a scale that manual braiding or basketry could not achieve, creating the textile economy that has been central to human material culture ever since. Nigeria's weaving traditions, diverse, regionally specific, culturally significant, are part of this global 7,000-year history of cloth. The distinction between plain weave as structure and supplementary weft as decoration is fundamental to understanding how complex woven patterns are created. The plain or tulle weave provides the stable structural foundation, the cloth's durability and integrity. The supplementary weft patterns are added on top of this structure, creating visual complexity without compromising structural integrity. The Okwit weavers of Abia State are masters of supplementary weft technique. Their cloths can depict recognizable human figures, animals, vehicles, and even contemporary imagery like aeroplanes and mobile phones, all created by the precise manipulation of supplementary weft threads on a traditional upright loom. This is computational thinking implemented through thread. Every pattern requires a precise sequence of decisions about which warp threads to pick up with each supplementary weft pass. Osook weaving in Iseyin, Oyo State, represents one of Nigeria's most important living craft industries. The town of Iseyin has thousands of active weavers, and Osook cloth production supports a significant local economy. The social significance of Osook, its role as the definitive ceremonial cloth for Yoruba important occasions, ensures continuing demand. Contemporary challenges include competition from machine-woven imitations and the time required to hand-weave quality cloth, but the premium market for authentic hand-woven Osook remains strong among Nigerians who understand and value the difference. This is a case where cultural knowledge and aesthetic appreciation directly support a traditional craft economy. The person who can distinguish authentic Osook from imitation supports the weaver's livelihood. Fine art education that teaches students to identify, appreciate, and value traditional craft contributes to cultural and economic sustainability. The geometric nature of woven pattern has a direct relationship to mathematics, specifically to the mathematics of repeating patterns and symmetry. The pattern grids of traditional woven cloth are examples of mathematical tessellations, repeating patterns that cover a surface without gaps or overlaps. Nigerian weavers who have never studied formal mathematics are intuitively working with mathematical concepts, fractions, the ratio of color to plain threads, symmetry, mirror, rotation, translation, series and sequences, the repeat unit of a pattern. Fine art education that connects the mathematics of pattern to the practice of weaving builds genuine interdisciplinary understanding, showing students that mathematical concepts are not abstract school exercises but are embedded in the practical knowledge of traditional craft. Paper weaving is one of the most effective introductory exercises in fine art education because it makes the abstract principles of weaving immediately visible, tangible, and self-correcting. If a student skips the over-under alternation, the weft strip doesn't stay in place, the physical structure immediately reveals the error and requires correction. The visual result, the colored pattern emerging as row is added to row, creates immediate visual feedback that reinforces the connection between process, over-under sequence, and visual outcome, pattern. Students who understand paper weaving understand the structural principle of all woven cloth. They can then look at any textile and understand its fundamental structure, regardless of how complex the surface pattern appears. The cardboard loom is a simplified version of the backstrap loom, a type of simple loom used across Asia, Africa, and the Americas for thousands of years. The backstrap loom uses the weaver's own body as one frame of the loom. The warp is attached to the weaver's waist and to a fixed point in front of them. Tension is maintained by the weaver leaning back. The cardboard loom simplifies this by using cardboard notches instead of the weaver's body, but the same over-under principle applies. Students who master the cardboard loom have the conceptual foundation to understand any loom, from the simplest backstrap to the most complex industrial jacquard loom, which use punched cards to control pattern sequences, an early form of binary programming that directly inspired the first digital computers. For your exam, weaving equals the interlacing of two sets of threads at right angles to create cloth. The over-under interlocking creates structural integrity. Warp equals vertical foundation threads stretched on loom under tension, don't move. Weft equals horizontal filling threads woven through warp or carried by shuttle, creates width. 3 weaving patterns, plain/tabby weave, over 1, under 1, alternating, strongest, checkerboard, tulle weave, over 2, under 1, diagonal pattern, herringbone, supplementary weft, extra weft threads create floating decorative patterns. 3 Nigerian traditions, Osok, Yoruba, Iseyin, horizontal treadle loom, strip woven, formal occasions, Okwit cloth, Igbo, Okwit, Abia State, women weavers, upright loom, supplementary weft patterns, Hausa strip cloth, northern Nigeria, cotton, geometric, blankets and robes. Additional, raffia basketry, widespread. Exam tip: warp/weft confusion is the most common error in weaving questions. Remember the mnemonic, warp equals vertical, like the strings of a harp, warp/harp rhyme, weft equals horizontal, it goes left and right, wf/left. Excellent! You now understand the principles of weaving and Nigeria's extraordinary weaving heritage. Complete a paper weaving project this week, even using newspaper strips if colored paper is unavailable. In our final Term 2 lesson, we explore pattern design and tie-dye, bringing together the color and pattern knowledge from across this term into a practical textile art project. See you in class.